So hello! On this channel, we talk about independent spirituality and folk magic for free spirits. My name is Aster, and in today's video, we are going to have episode 5 of Spooky Tales Halloween Edition! Halloween Edition just because we are in October, but I don't think the stories are Halloween themed. Not at all, I don't think so. Spooky Tales, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the series of videos in which I read paranormal experiences that the subscribers of the channel send over to this email address that you're seeing right now, asterperpetua@gmail.com. So if you have a spooky tale yourself, you have lived something supernatural, you have some experience with ghosts, spirits, or you know somebody who has, you know a story? Send it to this email. Just remember that it is super important to put the word spooky on the subject of the email because that's what I search for when I am looking for the stories to read on camera, okay? You have to write spooky on your email, otherwise I'm not gonna be able to find it. Wait a minute. Before we start, let's take a minute to hear a word from today's sponsor, which is myself. Did you know that I have opened a store? Yeah, that's right. Over there you can find all my ebooks that contain some juicy bits of occult knowledge that I share, and you don't want to miss out on that. And also private readings that combine tarot and Lenormand cards, as you already know them, with some extra spice of Afro-Brazilian knowledge. But the best part is that the products on the store start at only $3. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't know, I'm also on Patreon. And over there, I share extra exclusive content like spell tutorials, behind the scenes of my life, exclusive Patreon videos, unfiltered book reviews, weekly readings, and much, much more for only 1 cup of coffee per month. So if you like what I do on the internet and would like to support my work somehow, check out the links in the description to take a look at everything that I offer. Now, with that being said, let's get back to the video. So let's start. You know what? I'm gonna do just like I did last time, sharing a story of my own. And we are going to start with sleep paralysis. Okay, sleep paralysis is such a weird thing. And I'm guessing that many, probably you watching right now, you have experienced sleep paralysis. I know that some people haven't, and if that's your case, I'm gonna try and explain what that is. So you are sleeping, and then all of a sudden, you are in that state of half awake, half asleep kind of thing, and your body can't move. And it's like something is holding you down, something is holding you back, and you can sense that there's something present with you. It is a very weird sensation. It is like even panicky kind of thing. It is really not something pleasant to experience, but at this point I got used to it. Years ago, it really bothered me. It's not that I have it all the time, no, it's just sometimes, but even so, some years ago, it would really scare me, but not anymore. It's like, oh, it's a slow Wednesday, you see? I got used to it, but still, it's a little bit interesting. So, the other day, not that long ago, I woke up in the middle of the night feeling the sleep paralysis kind of thing. And that time around, I decided, you know what? I was with my back upwards and the chest on the bed, you see? This time I decided, you know what? I'm gonna open my eyes and I'm gonna look around to see if I spot something, if there's somebody here with me. And that's exactly what I did. So I opened my eyes and I looked back and I saw a dark figure. It was like a human figure, but all dark, all black kind of thing, shadowy, sitting on top of me and doing something with my arms, and I was proud of myself because 1, I saw that, and 2, I didn't get scared. So I was like, oh, all right. I wonder what they're doing, what they're trying to do. And then I was there for some time and I fell asleep again. At a certain point, nothing surprises you anymore. So, have you had sleep paralysis? Let us know in the comments. Let's go to the first story sent by a viewer. That's short and sweet, just the way I like it. So let's go. Hi, I'm Zaria. Hello. I live in Bangladesh and I want to share one of a spooky story which I heard my granny tell my cousin. Before I start, I want to mention that you don't need to hide my identity. You can say my name and country. So the story goes like this. Noted. Actually, my granny's house is beside a river. There's a bamboo garden in front of the window of the room my granny lived. In our country, bamboo garden is considered to be a place for paranormal entities to reside in. So for a specific paranormal feeling, my granny once called a paranormal expert. And after researching the garden, he stated that there is a family spirit, or what you call ghost or guardian, living in there. He has a normal body as us, but he has no head, and he has 2 eyes on his collarbone area. So he has no head and the eyes on the collarbone. That's a look. So that's how he looks. He said that this entity won't harm us, rather it is trying to observe us and keep us safe. So you can call it a family guardian, familiar spirit perhaps. Before leaving, that expert bound our house with some spells. One of my aunt unexpectedly even saw the entity, as I know. So this was the story. I don't know if he still resides there, but let's thank him for approaching to help us. Thank you, Aster. I wish this story is a good one. It is good enough to be posted by my favorite inspo witch. Love you. Thank you so much, Zaria. So if I understood correctly, there was an entity, a spirit living in the bamboo plants at your grandma's house. So that's very interesting because in Brazilian culture, like bamboo, it's not just like one stick on the ground like this. It becomes like a little forest, a little thing of its own. If you have never seen bamboo growing anywhere, that's how bamboo goes. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. Bamboo. So in Brazilian culture, there is a specific entity that is associated with bamboo, which is Saci Perere. Saci is a black boy with 1 leg, and he wears red shorts and a red little hat. And he is believed to live in bamboo plants. So that's interesting that you've mentioned another entity living in bamboo area kind of thing. I love the look, by the way, with the eyes on the collarbones. So Saci is kind of an elemental spirit of Brazilian folklore. And yeah, I do believe that this spirit, I don't know, I'm getting some kind of familiar vibes. I don't know why, because they had a human body, but anyway, it could have been an ancestor of yours that lost their head somehow. But thank you so much, Zaria, for sending your story. And like from Bangladesh, that is amazing. It makes me really happy to see the reach that the channel has. Thank you so much. Okay, somebody sent me an iCloud thing. They shared a document with me. Terry Morgan, they shared a document with me. It wouldn't have been easier to just copy and paste into the email because I have an Android. I cannot see your story on iCloud. I'm sorry. So if you want to share a story, write it directly on the email. Okay? Oh, that's a longer one. Let's see. They're not saying anything about hiding their name apparently. So Kim Daizuki sent their tales. Let's see. Hi Aster. Hello. I found your videos about spooky stories and I thought I'd give it a shot. I have 2 stories for you. Great. When I was a kid, I had guinea pigs. I love how this is starting, okay? So Kim had guinea pigs as a kid. And when the first one died, it just happened. I wasn't prepared. She was fine and I found her dead the next day. But that was the only time that I wasn't prepared. A year later, the second guinea pig fell ill. We couldn't bring her to the vet since it was already late and the vet's office would open the next day. I knew she might not survive that night and I was right. I was laying in bed, not quite asleep, when I felt felt something small on my pillow, the weight of a guinea pig. I felt whiskers brushing my nose, then the feeling was gone. When I checked the next morning, the guinea pig was dead. After that experience, I always knew when my friends' guinea pigs would die. Wait, after that experience, I always knew when my friends' guinea pigs would die, even though they were healthy. For some reason, it only worked with guinea pigs. So that's extremely interesting. Like, you were touched by the guinea pig and they gave you the clairvoyance, the clear sense of knowing when a guinea pig is going to die. That is amazing. Highly specific, but amazing. So the other story is much longer. Let's take a look at it. My other story takes place a few years back when I was in my mid to late 20s. I found a band I really liked and the music was special to me, but it wasn't until a year later that I actually checked what the band members look like. I hope you mentioned the name of the band, by the way. One of them just struck me more than the others. Well, I thought it was because he was cute and accepted as a new crush. I was already an adult in a relationship and well, it seemed like my teeny emo self reappeared on the surface when seeing the pictures. I did a bit of research about the band because it didn't let me go through, and well, the cute band member, the drummer, had been dead for almost a decade. Normally, I'm all like, oh, that's a shame. I hope his loved ones could move on peacefully. And that's it. When I don't know anyone in person, it doesn't affect me. But instead, I was struck by grief as if I knew that man, as if we had been growing up together or something like that. As if it was a personal loss. A few months went by and it got worse. So I decided to take things into my own hands and created a ritual to let that grief and everything attached to the drummer peacefully go. I won't share all the details of that ritual, but it included a letter to the drummer and a picture of him, which I both burned. So a letter to him and a picture, and she burned the letter and the picture. Okay. And suddenly I started to cry more than I had ever done in my life, only to feel a lot better after. For some reason, I felt the need to draw his portrait. I'm not good at realistic drawing, but I think my job there was well enough. The night after the portrait was finished, I had a dream about meeting the drummer in person. He walked up to me and hugged me. That hug felt so real that I woke up and for a few seconds, I saw someone sitting right next to me on my bed. I was alone that night. Afterwards, I felt a lot better and decided to frame the portrait I created. Now I put alcoholic drinks in front of it when it's the drummer's birthday and death day, and that boosts my creativity for writing and drawing. One year, I completely forgot it and I had a huge art and writer's block. Last year, I talked about that event with other witches I'm friends with, and one of them offered to look into the topic because after all, I'm still curious about why I felt so drawn to it. She told me that she felt freezing water and the feeling of drowning, nothing more. During another event with other witches, a group meditation involving the god Hades, I still was curious and went into the meditation with the question, what was that all about? After all, Hades is the god of the underworld where dead people go. Maybe he would know something. And I suddenly was in the position of a young girl helplessly watching her big brother drown in a frozen lake. Coming back from the meditation, my face was covered in tears. The other witches mentioned the possibility of the drummer having been my brother in a former life, hence the connection, but I'm skeptical. I don't believe in former lives and reincarnations, and even if I did, what are the odds of a rock star having been related to me in the past? However, even though I don't know if it's a spirit, ghost, or energy with simply the drummer's face, that being seems to be my muse, which boosts my artsy and crafty phases, and I'm happy about that experience. Well, those were my stories. I don't know if they can be classified as spooky, but I hope they entertained you. I wish you a wonderful time. Yours, Kimmy. Whoa, Kimmy, I loved both of your stories. First of all, the guinea pig thing, priceless, amazing, top notch. I wish I could tell when a guinea pig is going to leave us. I think that's a very special gift. No joke, it is really cool. Now, the second story, my dear, if you don't believe in reincarnation and former lives, you better start, because that's precisely what I'm seeing here. Reincarnation, former lives, that kind of thing, they happen in ways that we cannot fully comprehend. So just because that guy was famous, he was a drummer in a band. By the way, what was the band? I would love to know what was the name of the band. Well, regardless, if he was famous and you're not, that's not the point, that's not a thing, okay? He could have been your brother in another life. And it's not by coincidence that you found that band and you became interested, and it is just amazing that this spirit reach out to you. This is definitely a strong connection, a strong bond, family bond in this case, and this is an ancestor kind of thing. So you are very blessed for receiving that contact and for having his aid for your art and creative moments. I think this is amazing, and you should definitely continue venerating this spirit, because he's definitely part of your spiritual team. And that's such a cool and unusual way to find a spirit to work with. It is amazing. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Okay, let's go to the next one. Hello, Aster. Hello. I'd like to remain anonymous, if that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. I'm such a fan of your channel, and it's really helped me revive my own spiritual practice. This really makes me happy. Thank you so much. I have 2 stories for you. Feel free to share both or just one, which is choice. While I've only worked directly with land spirits, I've had many encounters with other spirits throughout my life that I did not seek out. I'll share my very first experience, the one that got me into witchcraft, and then share the latest encounter. Okay, let me get a sip of water, because I am talking and talking and talking and getting thirsty. So let's go. First experience. I moved into my very first apartment in my early 20s. I won't reveal the city I was living in at the time, but we'll say that it was on an island that has experienced deadly hurricanes and has a history of piracy. Oh, that's interesting. Needless to say, it's haunted as fuck. Sorry, can I swear? Yes, swearing is welcome here. In my opinion, living near water is like living on a superhighway of energy. Definitely. All kinds passing through, as I was soon to find out. My apartment was the size of a shoebox, but I was so proud of my newly found independence. About 2 weeks after moving in, I encountered some sort of entity that shook me to my core and pushed me onto my spiritual path. I was in a deep sleep when something inexplicably brought me to the surface. I was about to roll over and try to fall back asleep when I felt a puff of warm air on the left-hand side of my face. I froze, my brain unable to process the situation fast enough. After a few seconds, I realized I was feeling someone's breath on my face. I slowly turned my head and I was staring into 2 enormous, bulging, bloodshot yellow eyes. My God. The rest of the face was deformed, scars and stretched skin. One of those yellow eyes sat way low on his face. I don't think there was a nose, but one thing I'll never forget, he bore a terrifying Cheshire grin. I'm guessing like the cat of Alice in Wonderland. Cheshire grin. I'm not sure how to pronounce Cheshire, but he had a weird grin on his face, let's say. Lips pulled wide, sharp, fangled teeth with drool glistening off the points. I have no idea how much time passed, but eventually I sat up. He slowly unbent himself to stand straight, and he was over 7 feet tall easily. His smile somehow got wider, as if my reaction was amusing. I managed to slam the light switch that was right next to my headboard. My heart somehow pounded even faster when I realized he was still there. Girl. Oh my God, okay, let's continue. I got lost, my God, wait. he was still there. So I took a huge inhale to scream, and he lazily faded away before I could let out a sound. I slept with the lights on for the next days after this. Like for days after this. I told my boss about the incident. You told your boss about the incident? Not a friend, not a family member, your boss? That's the scary part of the story. I'm messing with you. So I told my boss about the incident. She was an elderly lady with incredible warmth and maternal vibes. She immediately put me in contact with her friend, who came over and did a cleansing of my place. One of the first things she said when she walked in was, "It's already gone. It was probably just passing through and stopped because he noticed you." This freaked me out, but she told me that I should learn to protect myself from spiritual attacks. She gave me a book on protection magic, and the rest is history. Second experience, much less intense. This happened just a few weeks ago. Again, I was asleep. This time I woke up because I heard this strange, almost white noise type sound. One of my dogs was standing at the end of the bed, staring out into the hallway. I noticed my other dog was missing, and I thought the noise I was hearing was him chewing on something. I called him. He didn't come. I got out of bed and as soon as I stepped out of the bedroom, I saw my other dog standing extremely still at the end of the hallway, looking out into the living room. I called him again. He didn't move. I started towards him and stopped dead in my tracks when I realized the sound I was hearing was whispering in my living room. Multiple people whispering. I couldn't tell what they were saying. I began to panic. My brain was screaming to run back to the bedroom and call 911, but I was frozen in place. Just when I thought I was about to faint from fear, loud as hell, I hear someone say, "Shh, she can hear us." I don't know why, but I knew in that instant it was no one in the physical form in my living room. I ran straight in and flipped on the lights. No one there. It definitely felt like they were gone. And don't worry, I did a full sweep of the house with a baseball hat in my hands to make sure I was indeed alone. No, I think it was baseball bat. So don't worry, I did a full sweep of the house with a baseball bat in my hands to make sure I was indeed alone. Once the adrenaline wore off, I became super sleepy, but before heading back to bed, I shouted, "Y'all better vacate. You're not welcome here. I'm smoking out my stragglers in the morning." I did a house cleansing the next day, but I could already tell whatever was here had left. Hope you enjoyed these stories. Lots of love and respect to my favorite Brazilian witch. Thank you so much for those stories. They were really good, really good. And the thing that you mentioned about the whispering and the voices, there's something kind of similar that I experience. Like when I am in bed going to sleep, I hear so many voices. I hear so many people saying random things. And I'm like, what are you talking about? But those stories were really good, especially with the first appearance with that drooling guy with the yellow eyes. My God, that must have been so scary for you because it was before your spiritual awakening phase, let's say. So yeah, we don't need to be afraid. We just need to protect. And it's a pity because every time they notice that we are noticing them, they disappear. It's like they want to stay hidden and want to talk shit on our back because they think we don't hear them. Well, anyway, thank you so much for your stories. I loved them. So that's all this spookiness that I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. And remember 2 things. First one, if you have a story, don't hesitate to send over to asterperpetua@gmail.com. And second, practice makes perfect. So let's get witching. Bye-bye.